What's up? How you doing? This week on our plate, is PlayStation's plan to compete with Xbox XCloud game streaming? We'll find out. Could we get a Daredevil DLC coming to Marvel Spider-Man 2? We'll find out. Could we see a tease for God of War DLC later this year? Maybe at the Game Awards? Maybe not. We'll see. Surprise, surprise. IGN got another review wrong. This time it's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. We'll talk about that. Then Overwatch 2 confirms its next hero with a trailer. All this and more in Season 7, Episode 43 of Press X Start Gamers Digest. What's up, everyone? I'm your host, DJ, a.k.a. Sexy Bad Choices, a.k.a. the other person in the internet who has actually beat the campaign to Modern Warfare 3. It's me. I am joined by Sean.
MF Ross.
I don't know why I said your name.
It just feels good. It has a good mouth feel.
Right?
Who doesn't want to say my name?
What does EMF stand for?
I'm leaving my part-time girl Haley to go back to Aloy.
Oh.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Haley's probably a little better, though. Who is that third person there? Who are you, third person?
Yo. What is up? It's your boy Cameron, aka the dad who left to get cigarettes, decided to come back.
Came back
Welcome
with his
back to
child
the
support check.
He said, I'm all out of money and I'm all out of smokes. What's up, everybody? For those who don't
DJ,
know,
I'm glad you.
For all those who don't know, Cam is actually one half of the founders of this podcast that we have continued to push forward in their absence. So yeah, glad to have you back. Hopefully it'll be more than just one time, because as we talked before,
Oh no,
this
he's
cast
doing his
recording,
farewell tour.
Right? It's gonna be this is Spider-Man.
I'm like,
Oh man. Right?
I mean,
Right. Oh man, yeah, okay. So now you know who we are. Press X Start Gamers Digest is a video podcast and getting us the most important gaming news from this past week into an hour-long meal just for you person there who's watching us or listening to us. We are live on YouTube every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes, 5 p.m. because we nailed it. Technically, we did because it is daylight savings or receding time, whatever it is. So, you know. Don't forget, you can support us by liking the video, subscribing to the
he
channel,
should have picked
and
the book since I left.
Right? Same script as always. If you are listening, we
John, you're the only son I'm proud of.
DJ,
looks like this actually might be Cam's last show. But yes, if you are listening, we greatly appreciate you leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or the podcast services you are tuned in on. And if you want to join our conversations, you can by joining our Discord at pressxnumber2start.com/Discord. Let's do it. We have a good time. We actually talked about Across the Spider-Verse because that came out on Netflix, and I, along with a couple other people, were able to watch it, and we talked about it. So if you want to join our conversation on that, you can by joining our Discord. So do it. All right. Now that we got that all out the way, man, I am warm. Like I am just like.
I'm like having hot flashes.
Right, no, my wife left the heater on.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's 2023. Anyways, if you get the hot flashes, it's okay.
I shouldn't. I'm not that old yet.
We accept you.
Sean.
That's not what I meant, but okay.
All right. Let's get the gaming news. Number one. PlayStation is acquiring video delivery AI firm iSize. This comes from VGC by way of Andy Robinson. So, iSize specializes in deep learning for video delivery. Its technology allows companies to reduce the amount of data required to stream video games and increase visual quality of video streaming content using AI. The company also has its own live photorealistic for photorealistic generative 2D/3D avatar technology, according to its website. The acquisition provides SIE with significant expertise in applying machine learning to video processing, which will benefit a range of R&D efforts as well as our video and streaming services, says SIE Future Technology Group SVP. Ooh, Jesus. It's a name. Yuli
Galizzi.
Gustin. There you go. What Sean said, he nailed it. I'm going to scroll down just a little bit. SIE Interactive CEO Jim Ryan said PlayStation was gearing up to reveal aggressive plans in in the cloud gaming space. More recently, Sony CEO Kunichiro.
Kenichiro. As
Yeah,
much
Yoshida.
anime as you watch, you can.
Bro. Hey, man, these names are still difficult, okay? It don't change. Unless it's
Yo, good to
Naruto
know
or
nothing
Goku,
has
this shit's still
changed.
difficult.
I bet you say Sasuke, don't you? Goddamn American. Go ahead.
What you mean? Naruto. But Yoshida said technical issues remain with cloud-based gaming, calling the technology very tricky, but a challenge we want to take on. So, what all this means is that what it looks like is PlayStation. So, okay. About a year or so ago, maybe a year or two ago, there was news that PlayStation was partnering with Microsoft's Azure network. And the idea was like, oh, they're going to use that technology to do like cloud streaming and stuff. I'm guessing it seems like that didn't really bear any fruit. So it seems like they are switching over to this iSize and they are just bringing it all in-house essentially, which I guess kind of makes sense because it is kind of weird to use your competitor's technology for stuff that you're going to compete with your competitor.
Not really.
No.
Well, we haven't had any word that they stopped doing that. You know what I mean?
True, they didn't. Yeah, but I mean, this seems kind of weird that they would buy this stuff and then also use it. Oh, I guess if they're using that for the infrastructure.
I mean, you only have but so many choices. It's either Microsoft Azure or Amazon Web Services. Google has some shit, but I mean, they're not as big as AWS and Microsoft. They've been doing it far longer. So I mean,
yeah.
But the reason why it would feel weird is if you think about like the arguments that were being made about was it Microsoft's acquisition of Blizzard and from the European side where they were talking about Microsoft having this niche like spot in streaming, and so then it's kind of like Sony's been like fighting against it and on both fronts, the U.S. front and then the overseas international front, and then to say, all right, cool, we're gonna line up with their technology. It does feel weird, and then it's like, man, here's my thing with Sony. It's like they need to pick when it comes to like Sony games on lot. When it comes to Sony product and acquisitions, it doesn't feel like they have a clear strategy, right? Like, and so my concern here is that Sony is dipping into another thing. It's like, are they going to actually support it? Because we have what is it, PS Now, where it isn't very clear about what Sony's direction is around that. They've been doing that for a minute. And so my concern here is like, is Sony stepping its toe into another acquisition, another product offering without a clear plan on how they're going to support it going forward?
well, I mean, PS Now evolved or changed into the PlayStation Plus suite. They kind of lumped all that together.
The streaming thing. So I actually wonder if, like, since Cam brought up PS Now, I wonder if this is just going to possibly either boost up or replace the back end stuff of PS Now, because this is essentially would be doing what PS Now is doing. It's for game streaming, but it's using AI, and it's so okay. So there's actually a quote here that I wanted to read, but I forgot the right. For example, the company built an AI-based perceptual pre-processing solution that allows conventional third-party encoders to produce high-quality video at a significant lower bit rate. So what that mumbo jumbo means is that they're essentially doing almost said DL. What is it called? The NVIDIA coding that allows you to produce 8 or 4K visuals with only like a 1080 signal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're essentially doing that. So it seems like that would be a good way to make the actual streaming that's happening in PS Now better if they are going to use this for PS Now. But of course,
I'm wondering if they're gonna do like a. I feel like it's almost inevitable that they're gonna do some type of firmware update or software update to allow the PlayStation Portal to do streaming. They just don't feel that it's reliable enough yet to allow for that.
yeah, I can imagine them I can imagine them internally thinking, okay, we're going to release the cloud streaming for the premium. We'll see how that does. If it's beneficial for us, then we'll also invest in moving that streaming technology or activating that streaming technology for the portal and making it work there as well. And that way, that could also increase people wanting to go premium. So we'll see. We'll see. All right. Number 2. Daredevil pays rent. Skewering Marvel's Spider-Man 2 DLC theory. This comes from Push Square by way of Kyle Adams. So, what happened here is that there was a interview on, I believe this actually happened on IGN's podcast Beyond. They had the director from Marvel Spider-Man 2 on, and they were talking about stuff. And then they brought up the fact that one of the players found a sign that was supposed to be where Daredevil's like attorney firm was supposed to be, law firm, yeah. But the actual sign was missing. So the director was like, "Oh, interesting. That's a good catch. That's a really good catch." And he kind of played it off in a way of like, did we do this on purpose? Maybe. Maybe this could mean something. And then some time passed and that sign actually reappeared. So it's a thing of, was that intentional? Was that a mistake? And they just kind of played it off in a like fun way. We don't really know. It's very possible that this could be a subtle clue to potential DLC. You don't think so,
Man,
Cam?
as lucky as that game was, no.
He had the same issues.
Great game, but that thing was buggy as hell.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, we're still going to do a review for Spider-Man 2. It's just, things just happen. Life gets in the way. Life gets in the way. But
and events happened.
I would say, if anything, it's going to be. If anything, my theory is Spider-Man 2 DLC has to do with one of the characters that they teased at the end, or we're going to get more Venom.
Or his counterpart.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
I think it's very possible that can happen, and we can also get Daredevil stuff at the same time, because if you look at the past Spider-Man DLC, I think there was 3 of them, and they kind of I'm not sure if all of them focused on Black Cat, but I think the first one did for sure. So
First one did, and I think the other one was like Tombstone, and then went back to Yuri, which is how we got Wraith.
Gotcha. So it's very possible that they could do something like that, and then that could give them enough space to work on a like Miles Morales kind of DLC thing. I can imagine that could possibly be like a Venom thing, so it gives you more to do, or it could be another character that they tease at the end. We don't know, but I think this is
with certain
interesting.
gameplay things that they did in that game, I don't see how you couldn't get more Venom.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I totally agree that we're going to get more Venom in the future in some way.
Let's save this for the review cast. I got a lot of thoughts.
Yes. The only other thing that I want to bring up about this story is that we also have to look at this. You can't look at this in a vacuum. We also have to look at the whole Puerto Rican flag mishap that happened with the Spider-Man 2 game, where they had the wrong flag. And it's very possible that this was also just a mistake that was not caught. So we'll see. Hopefully soon.
In a game this large, oversights will happen. So yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. So number 3, God of War Ragnarök DLC to be announced this year, reports claim. This comes from Insider Gaming by way of Tom Henderson. All right. So according to the outlet, the news comes from source close to Sony that claims that the DLC could come in its own standalone game, somewhat similar to Spider-Man Miles Morales. The report outlines that its sources are unclear on how the DLC will be announced, but theorize that all signs point to an announcement at this year's Game Awards. The Game Awards will be live on December 7th, 2023. We don't care about that part. So yeah, that's pretty much where the rumor ends at this. And do I want to believe this rumor? Absolutely. Absolutely. Does it make sense? I think if we get the
Yeah.
DLC in the first half of 2024, it does make sense in terms of how much time they've had between this and God of War Ragnarok. It's like, yeah, it makes sense in terms of how they ended God of War Ragnarok and the little threads they left. Like they could go in a couple different directions. And I think it would be it would be really good for Sony to have something for us to look forward to next year because we don't really know their slate. I mean, we got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but
Helldivers? You mean you're not like on point for that?
yeah, Helldivers. We got Helldivers to look forward to.
Yeah, I think this might be. Oh no, okay, it says it. It might be announced at the Game Awards.
Yeah. So I think I think. Oh, go ahead, Cameron.
No, I was gonna say like it feels real. I mean, considering again what Sony has on deck for 2024, I feel like they need something. So
I totally agree. And there was also rumors that there was probably going to be a state of play for, sometime before the end of the year. And I think if this rumor holds true, of course, there's not going to be a state of play. Like it doesn't. That doesn't make
We've
any
been saying this for
sense.
3 months now that there's gonna be another state of play. So
yeah,
Exactly.
and I think honestly, I don't think that rumor necessarily came from Sony. I think it just came from us fanboys were being dissatisfied with how they did that showcase, and so
Yeah.
we're all like, no, there needs to be a showcase. Redeem
Yeah.
yourself,
Yeah.
you know, or
Very
state of
true.
play.
Very true. So yeah. So we'll see. Well, I mean, if this rumor holds true, we don't have to wait that much longer, which is a positive. And Game Awards should be pretty exciting. I don't know anything, but it should be pretty exciting. So we'll see. Number 4. Overwatch 2 next hero is Mauga. I feel like I'm pronouncing that wrong. The game's first Samoan hero. This comes from IGN. Well, I guess this just came from BlizzCon 2023. This comes to us by way of Wesley Yingpool. I'm going to pull up the trailer so we can just watch it. Give me a hot second. A hot second.
Cameron, did you play Overwatch?
Yes, but I did not play Overwatch 2.
I mean, if you played Overwatch, you played Overwatch 2.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
that's true. That's really true.
But what I mean by that is like I have no idea what like they were like, oh, it's gonna be. They were teasing Overwatch 2. I just stopped paying attention, and then all I heard is nothing good.
I mean, they didn't.
But yeah, no, we definitely play some Overwatch, especially on this podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this character, as you see, he is wielding 2 Gatling guns. He has an ability to dash through force fields, dash through shields, and then he can also essentially cage people in and kill them at range with them not being able to escape. So he seems really overpowered, and I think this kind of is in line with how Blizzard releases their characters. They usually drop and they're like really, really strong, and then they like balance them later on. And I feel like that is a tactic to get people in to play the game because there's like, oh, this character's really cool, or like get them to buy the character, however that transaction works in that game now. I think he looks cool. I think he looks interesting. He reminds me of what's that guy? Gibraltar.
Oh. Yeah, Gibraltar.
he does. Yeah, he does. Was Maui, right?
I don't know. I haven't
From
seen
one.
it.
You haven't seen it?
What do I look like?
Yeah, okay. So yeah.
Yeah, and I was gonna say you do remind me of Gibraltar as well, though. Gibraltar is cooler though.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, so like I saw the shield that he made. I was like, oh, that's very familiar. So yeah, he looks pretty cool. I don't have much experience with Overwatch. This isn't going to get me to download Overwatch 2, even though I have a nice 2 terabyte space card in my PS5 now. So I got the space, guys. I got it. Thanks to Sean, I have the space. I actually re-downloaded Genshin Impact because I got rid of that. I was like, I don't.
What you got a
SSD?
Mm-hmm.
What you bought an SD card?
SD card. You old as shit. Jesus Christ. You got one to floppy disk? PlayStation? God damn it, Cameron. There was a sale now. I'm gonna send you the link, Cameron.
I got one of them binary punch cards. Oh man. But yeah, I think he looks cool though. I think that's one thing that I'll give up to Blizzard's team. They know how to make characters, and all the characters just look cool, and he just follows that same, like, he looks really cool. So more power to them. All right. Before we get into Dragon's Dogma, kind of confusing one of the game directors.
Yes.
Hey, you. How you doing? You doing good? Good. Do us a favor. Like the video. We need your help, okay? Your likes will keep us afloat for 2024. Why did I say 2024? That sounds so.
Because we taking over like Cash Money for the 2-3 and the 2-4. All our listeners, all our dozens of listeners will,
right? All dozens of you. With your support, we'll become even more of dozens. Yeah, whatever. I failed that. Anyways, if you are listening to this and you just missed looking at our faces, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or podcast services you are currently tuned in on. I told you like the video. I told you subscribe to the channel. I told you hit the notification bell. I told you leave a review. Yeah, I think I told you everything.
All that's left is to slap your mama.
Whoa, wait a minute. Number 5, Dragon's Dogma 2 does not have scripted events, but one incident with a troll and a village was almost enough to fool the game's director. This comes from GamesRadar by way of Dustin Bailey. So this is actually just kind of a funny little thing that happened that makes me just even more excited for this game. Dragon's Dogma 2 is starting to sound more and more like the kind of emergent sandbox I'm going to fall in love with. In Edge Magazine issue 391, director Hideki Itsuno, nailed it, tells the story of an unfortunate encounter with a cave troll that left his pawn companions dying in a field. Itsuno simply turned away and ran. I was just running away for lack of anything better to do, but it kept following me. I didn't know how I was going to survive, Itsuno said. Itsuno ultimately dove into a nearby village, hoping to lose the troll in the chaos of the panicking villagers. But the villagers didn't panic. Instead, just like the playable hero can do, they started clambering up the creature's side and eventually overwhelming it with purely with numbers and determination.
You done came to the wrong neighborhood, bitch. What type of village you thought this was?
Right.
That's funny as shit.
Yo. It felt like a scripted event, but Dragon's Dogma 2 doesn't have scripted events, Itsuno said. There are no visible flags or triggers that cause certain events to occur. Everything that happened that day happened dramatically because of the game's rules and systems interacting with one another. That sounds so cool. What are you going to say again?
I'm very mixed about this. Who, me?
Okay.
No.
Yes. No, you're good. You're good.
No,
yes, I can understand why you're mixed about this.
Very
but
mixed
go ahead, go. Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. The story in Dragon's Dogma was like mid at best, right?
Yes.
And all the stuff that I loved about it is the emerging gameplay and all that. But then what is the draw to get back into this world? You know what I'm saying? Because the whole point was like you don't have a heart, you got to fight the dragon and all this other stuff. And so like how they're going to actually have a story? Because for example, like I think people look at Breath of the Wild or Zelda as like the king of emergent gameplay and all this
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah.
But there's still like some type of narrative event or there's scripted events that kind of tie everything together.
Yeah.
So how are they going to do that? Like, and
So
in my opinion, Dragon's Dogma isn't the strongest story to kind of do this with. You know what I mean?
Well, I think when they say they don't have scripted events, that's not to say that they don't still have cutscenes and story. Just no scripted events. Once you cross this border, this thing is going to happen. Other than
right.
maybe triggering a boss battle or some shit. But
Right.
there's no big set pieces that they want you to see other than you walk into the ring, all right, let's box, type shit.
Yeah. So I definitely think like that's what they're trying to say with this because every time I think of Dragon's Dogma, I think of my first encounter with the red
Yeah.
dragon that's just sleeping in the trees or whatever. And it's just like you see it from afar, and you're just like, what is that? And you get closer, you're like, oh, that's a dragon. And you realize that's a big ass dragon. And then you just have to figure out, like, okay, well, I got to get across it. So can I stealth around it? Do I try to fight it? And you end up like figuring out what you're going to do. But that also, and I think this is the one thing that is the linchpin for games that we talk about for a long time. You end up creating your own water cooler moments because whatever
Mhm.
you realize, whatever you figure out to do to get past it or to beat it or even to die in a funny way, like that becomes the story that you tell the people to like tell them about this game that you're playing. And I think for them, for example, what we just read is like hilarious and like to actually think of like, okay, I need to get away from this guy. I'm gonna go into this village and just sacrifice this whole village for me to get away. And
Really
it's
effed
like,
up.
yeah, right. And like it turns out the village is like, no, we got things to do tonight. So this thing has to die. And they all like they all team up to take this troll down. It's just like that's hilarious. So and I because like this year I have made it a point to play like the bigger games to kind of get a better sense of like the game of the year and so on and so forth. But like playing Tears of the Kingdom, and I didn't play Breath of the Wild because I just didn't enjoy it, but I like Tears of the Kingdom, and I think the whole nature of create your own adventure is really alluring. I think it's really cool when it's done right, and I think it's possible that Capcom can get it right with Dragon's Dogma 2, but at the same time, that requires a lot of skill, a lot of testing and all that stuff to get it right. So it is very possible that this could be like, oh, this is cool. And then you realize, like, that was actually the only cool thing that happened in the entire game. So we don't really know, but like, this sounds really cool. And I hope that this is a thing that happens more and more with the game. Cause
Pretty funny.
yeah, because like I think the last thing they showed was the Griffin fight, and I think
Yeah.
I think I think it was IGN that they were showing stuff, and like the person jumped on the Griffin, and the Griffin just took off, and the person was just flying across the stage with this like fighting this Griffin. It's just like this is insane. And then the person has to get down somehow. So how is he going to do that? If he makes it to the ground, like that's going to be a story to tell. So I think they are setting up these things to create these moments that's not necessarily scripted, but it's going to be fun either way to play. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay, well, I'm already. It's a day one for me.
Yeah.
So I just I'm like okay, but
Right.
it's a day one for me, so it don't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the plans for this to come out next year. I hope it does come out next year. So we'll see. We'll see. Number 6. All Quest in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has 2 versions because the devs wanted to include story details from the original JRPG. This comes from GamesRadar by way of Annie Marie Osler. Nailed it. So essentially, the director is talking about this, and he says during the journey, Cloud and his companions visit Cosmo Canyon, the birthplace of Red X3, Red X9. But is it whatever? Red X or Red 13?
13?
Is it 13? Okay.
Go
Dog.
back. I'm gonna
The
go.
dog.
Hey man.
Candy shouldn't
I
have put him in
never.
private school. I mean, public school. He was left behind. George Bush left him behind.
The only reason why I got that wrong is because I was hearing people talk about it, and like apparently it's not Red 13. It's like Red Red X. It's basically pronounced differently.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, that red dog thing. Okay. Here it's revealed that Red 13's real name is Nanaki, and through the events that transpire, he learns the truth about his father, who, until now, he believed to be a coward who abandoned his tribe. His mindset changes as a result, and so does his dialogue. Because of this, the developer has included 2 different versions of the game's quest.
What?
So, yeah, because of this, the developers include 2 different versions of the game's quest. One for the players who have witnessed his transformation at Cosmo Canyon, and one for those who hasn't. Okay, so as I'm gonna be honest. I'll be honest. This is not anything amazing. This is just RPG stuff. Like it's basically it is. Oh my god, what happened?
I mean, considering the production value going into this game versus the original, this is kind of a big deal as far as how much dialogue and stuff they have to do.
Yeah, I
think
it's a big deal for looking at like Final Fantasy VII versus Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But I think looking at an RPG in 2023, or I guess 2024 when this drops, it's like, yeah, that's kind of expected to do. Like, especially with Baldur's Gate 3 dropping and that like setting the bar for like how RPG should feel in terms of you making decisions, so on and so forth. And it's just like, all right.
I'd say Baldur's Gate is a different beast. Yes, it is setting a new bar, but that's just Dungeons and Dragons. And it has been doing that in tabletop form. It's just now getting to video game form. Like,
but essentially, all
what
RPGs
I would say
are
is
Dungeons
different
and Dragons.
here, but what I would say what makes this a little bit different here is because the whole controversy behind remake was the fact that it was taking some things that were core about Final Fantasy VII and like flipping it on his head, and so like to kind of have whatever they're doing with Red's character, I think that's where maybe it feels
You
like
ain't even say
unique or
13.
like pushing the envelope. Well, because I don't know if he's 13 or Red X3. Like, I don't want to get his name wrong, right? I don't want to get his name wrong.
You don't want to dead
Because,
name.
for example, if you look at the trailers, they're kind of alluding to the fact that Tifa is going to be the new Aerith. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I think that's where they're pushing the envelope by saying we've already subverted your expectations as far as what way the story that 7 should go. So like, here's the branching paths on this one character's story. So like, I think that's new for Square. I don't necessarily think that's
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I think that's where I'm just like, okay, this is cool for you guys, but like at the same time, it's like good job with catching up to like kind of industry standards when it comes to stuff like this. So it's like cool, but I think there is something to be said with the production of this game, how big it's going to be, how amazing the game looks. So for them to put that kind of detail and stuff into it is like overall just really, really good to hear. But yeah, it is a thing of like, okay, we'll see how that turns out and what that actually amounts to in the end.
Yeah, I'm not looking for them to do Baldur's Gate type shit in Final Fantasy VII, which already has an established story. Maybe Final Fantasy 17 when we get there, but nah. They're looking Final Fantasy. I think the experience is a tight story and whatever type of gameplay. So maybe I don't know.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Number 7. RGG Studio says Like a Dragon Gaiden took 6 months to make. Just 6 months.
Them
This
boys
comes from
is efficient.
VGC by way of Tom Ivan. Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name took just 6 months to develop, according to RGG Studio director Masayoshi Yokoyama. There we go, nailed it. In an interview with Automation, he also said the studio once considered releasing it as DLC before deciding to flesh it out to come to its own game. The spinoff, which takes place between Yakuza 6 and 7, tells the story of Kazuma Kiryu. There we go. Who fakes his own death and disappears from public eye to protect his loved ones. So, it will be released. It'll be released next week.
Day
this
before
week.
Call of Duty. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh shoot. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. So it will also include a demo for Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which is coming to the same platforms in January 2024. So yeah. Overall, this is cool. I think the most important thing is that this apparently just took 6 months to develop, which is insane.
I mean, it sounds like the assets are already there for the most part because they've been using the same damn city. The name escapes me right now. Granted, this is in Infinite Wealth is in Hawaii, but I mean they've been using the same city for the past every game.
True. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, so all the assets are there, and after reading that about the way that they work, they have a fairly small team compared to other big name studios, and one person works on basically one aspect, and they slot it into each game and just skin it accordingly. So
yeah,
they build the shits modular and then just record their voice lines and change which buildings you can enter from game to game. But for the most part, all the little mini games and mechanics, they just kind of slot in as needed.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's
Thank you for that on the boots reporting, on the ground reporting.
On the boots. Yeah, I mean, that sounds awesome.
And then is it published by Sega, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, they gotta get something now after losing all that money on hyenas. So.
Wait, they got canceled, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did.
Apparently, it was their most expensive game. And it got canceled.
They do not have Infinite Wealth.
Well, people are in love with Like a Dragon after
Marcus,
it was put on Game Pass, and after it was put on Game Pass and PlayStation Plus, it gained a huge North American following. So this will make them some money.
Yeah, for sure. Cam, have you into Yakuza?
I tried to play it. I didn't like it, but I did play Like a Dragon, and I did like it. But then the game was so long, and I fell off because something else came out at the same time that I was playing it when it came out on PlayStation Plus. And then I was like, oh, I'll get back to it, and I never did. But I like the fact that it literally, because it's like regular folk like me trying to be an RPG, and like they broke and they need a job. So I kind of like that.
Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So when this comes out, I need to beat Baldur's Gate 3. I need to beat Baldur's Gate 3. And with this coming out and I guess the full release of Modern Warfare 3 next week, it's like I'm gonna try to get this. But I also need to beat Final Fantasy 16 too.
You still haven't beaten
It's
that?
hard.
Amazing.
No, I have not beaten that. I moved to like Armor Core or something, but yeah.
Oh yeah. Did you beat that?
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. What? I wouldn't be able to talk if I didn't beat it. What? Literally, the hounds of hell would grab me and send me to.
I was gonna say, boy, as much as you sacrifice for that game.
Exactly.
DJ actually had 2 children.
Right?
Yeah.
We had to get new carpet for the basement because of the
sacrifice.
I had that alchemy circle up on the ground.
Edward. I'm sorry.
Hey, it worked. You know, it was worth it. Number 8. Silent Hill Ascension's microtransactions sparks major backlash among fans. This comes from IGN by way of Taylor Lies. Silent Hill Ascension, an interactive streaming series that premiered on Halloween, has Silent Hill fans up in arms after being hit with an unexpected microtransactions. While the series, a group-based choose-your-own adventure, is free to experience, it does include microtransactions, including the $20 Founders Pack. This features the season pass, access to all the in-game puzzles, and some in-game cosmetics, such as exclusive emotes. You can give it a look in the image below. I don't care about the image below. Silent Hill fans took to Twitter/X and Reddit to express their frustrations with Ascension, complaining that there is something of a pay-to-win issue here. The framework of Ascension is voting as a group in real time to determine what happens next, as Polygon reports, through viewers spending what are called influencer points, or IP, to sway the decisions. You can pay real money to obtain the digital currency, and the more IP you have, the more you can sway the decisions. Terrible.
Who put this out?
Like, dog, it's a free to play game. What do you expect? That's like being mad that water is wet. Like, like it's a free to play game. People got to keep the lights on. Like every free to play game has microtransactions. This is 2023. Like, why are we upset about it? Like, it's not like
that part is true.
You bought a $60 experience and you fundamentally can't play the game the way it's played because you're paying for it. No, it's a free to play game.
I just think people are upset that they weren't upfront with this, because they just said, you vote on what happens, and then I think they were just blindsided last minute, Cam.
Yeah.
It's like real life. Some votes matter more than others.
He said it.
I mean, this is like you getting back to the hotel with a girl you met at the bar, Cam, and she just starts discussing prices, and you're just like, damn, I thought you liked me. And that's the blindsided that they got hit with.
The typical issue with bringing women back from bars. Oh man, yeah. So
yeah, man, what you want? The game is free to play. Name any free to play game that does not have a micro transaction. Like the only one I can think of is what is it? Path to Exile, and even then it has microtransactions. But whatever. Like, what do you want? What do you want? You didn't pay for the game.
So here's the thing. With all this being said and how terrible this is, we still have to support this game because our man Marcus is in this.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to ask you.
Right.
It don't matter how much you're charging.
Beef with Marcus. Why you didn't tell us?
This is the greatest game ever.
Right. Game of the year. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, speaking of which, it's almost Christmas time. Make sure we gotta plug Marcus's Christmas movie too.
Oh my god.
Oh, I do so. I have done so. I have done so in the Discord. If y'all are in the Discord.
Hey, look at that. There you go.
Shout out to my man Richie.
So yeah, it kind of is what it is. Like as Cam said, like this is a free to play game, so they're gonna have to make their money back somehow. I think the rough point of this is that this is just a new type of way to pull money out of the people, and it's just like, oh, these people get to use their influencer points and they can pay for that and they can influence decisions more than other people. But it's just like, all right, like. Okay.
I think after looking at it, I think another concern.
I gotta look at it like this, right?
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you gotta look at it like this too, right? So like a lot of folks that worked on the game come from like Telltale Studios, right? And so they've already went through their whole thing where they thought they were supported, they've lost a job. Telltale tries to come back, it doesn't come back as successful. So then this is them like coming together, pulling in resources to do it again, and they're giving you an experience which is in their wheelhouse, but they're not charging you for it. Like, guys, how do you think like these people are gonna feed their family if they're not charging for $70 or a $60 experience.
Mm-hmm.
The beatings will continue until morale improves.
I mean, or take it up with the publisher. Like the publisher, Silent Hill is Konami, right?
Yeah.
So your beef is with Konami. It's above the developers. It's above the folks who work. It's with Konami. Like that's a publisher decision.
And that, what are you gonna say, Sean?
I'm just looking at the comments and they were saying that the episode was trash though. The story was bad,
Oh.
animation looked ugly, QTEs was laggy. Like they were paying for a subpar experience. I could see if they were at least paying for something that was good.
That is
Well, that's
unfortunate.
well,
Oh my
you know
gosh.
what? I bet you if they didn't have to pay for their votes, it would be a different story.
Yeah.
I
Well,
bet you they would not be as critical about
yeah. I'm gonna pull up this little this trailer real quick for Silent Hill.
it.
Pretty much the only other thing that I wanted to say with this is that this is Konami, and Konami has been out of the games business for a long time. Like they kind
All
of
they do is
reintroduced themselves.
microtransactions.
Yeah, exactly. They reintroduced themselves with the Metal Gear collection, and that was not great. They're working on the Snake Eater stuff, so hopefully that's better.
I'll put it to you like this: in the Snake Eater trailer, Snake is walking through the mud, right? He doesn't
Yes.
even leave footprints in the mud.
He doesn't
And the
because
reason
he's
why that's
so
such a
smooth with it.
and it's such a big deal, one because it happened in the previous iterations of the game, right? But if you look at the
Mhm.
trailer, there's Snake doesn't leave footprints. It's a big deal because one, it's 2024. Games should have that type of stuff, but it's a big deal in the context of Snake because literally the patrol looks at the footprint and says, "Hey, whose is this?" and follow you. Like
Right. It's part of the gameplay
it even happened in
mechanics.
Metal Gear Solid 1 on the PS1. Like you splash through the
Yeah.
water, the guard will hit the splash, look at the footprint, and follow you. Like
Mhm. Yeah.
so you're
Yeah.
gonna do
Yeah. You're
Snake
right.
Eater, which is one of the like iconic games in the franchise, and do it like that. Like yo, I mean, I'm gonna play it still because I like Snake Eater and
Yeah,
I kind of want to see what it's about. But still, I'm already concerned. I'm already
they're
concerned. And then
concerned
that
with making
remake, yeah,
things pretty and sanitizing things to show off the new 4K graphics, but not what gave the game, its soul or whatever.
It's
yeah.
draw.
I
Yeah.
mean, because well, it's not even about the soul. It's just about if you're doing a stealth game and the PS3 version, the PS2 version showed footprints and you're doing the Unreal Engine 4, which is like the ultimate
5.
engine at this point,
Mm.
and you're showing some demonstration of gameplay, you're not doing like what footprints? Like, yo, it's like one of the core things about Snake Eater and Metal Gear Solid series. Who knows?
Yeah.
They're gonna probably fix it,
Yeah.
but I'm
We'll see.
concerned.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, like
Mhm.
I'm not holding my breath because it's Konami. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But yeah, the last story of the day before we talk about the games we've been playing. Xbox's Phil Spencer hailed as goated for reversing Microsoft's plan to take away its employees' free Game Pass subscriptions. Wild. How dare they? How dare Microsoft do that to the employees? So this comes to us by way of GamesRadar. Microsoft employees have enjoyed free Game Pass subscriptions for years. The perk was about to be discontinued until Spencer stepped in. For years, Microsoft employees have enjoyed a perk that gave them free subscription to Game Pass Ultimate, and that benefit was on track to be discontinued until Xbox boss Phil Spencer stepped up and saved the day. Yeah, so the benefit for most of the 238,000
Yeah.
employees.
Let's see what's
That
Oh,
is
the
I'm on Xbox side. Nah, somebody gotta pay something.
Yo, Microsoft was like, wait, how many people?
I thought it was
assuming.
like, I thought it was like 200 folk. It was like 200,000. I was like, nah,
So
dog.
I
Somebody
did
gotta
the
pay
numbers.
something. A
Assuming,
discount.
assuming everybody, and I highly doubt everybody. I'd say probably 50%, but let's say everybody used it. That's about $47 million a year.
They could have
That's a
used
drop.
that
That's
to
a drop
buy
in the bucket.
Activision.
That's a drop in
That's
the bucket.
enough to get. That's enough to get Grand Theft Auto on Game Pass, though.
Right?
Nah, I don't think so. I think that's in the six.
You're right.
Shoot, that is insane. That
Yeah,
is
no,
so
I'm on
many people
Xbox.
just
I'm on Xbox Live right there, dog. I'm like,
yeah.
you can get a discount.
Hey man, I mean,
Considering
Phil was
how
like,
much GTA 5 made in the first 72 hours, I don't think Microsoft would want to pay that. I don't know. I don't think y'all remember how much GTA 5 made.
I don't
yeah,
know, but I know
no,
it's something
it made a lot.
obscene.
Yeah,
But or for example, like I could see if it was like everyone who works at Xbox, the Xbox division under Microsoft, gets free Game Pass, but like
yeah.
everybody who works at Microsoft in general, like
Yeah.
no, dog. Like you don't even, like nah.
I bet maybe
Yeah.
like 50%, 40 to 50% of people actually use that shit because Microsoft, not everybody there plays games.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'll say this. I'll say because looking at this, so basically they were going to remove this benefit in January, and honestly and truly, I want to believe that since Microsoft got Activision Blizzard King, Phil was like, he probably talked to the head, like the higher heads, like, no, we don't need to do this. We're gonna get that money back in and more. So like we're good. And Microsoft was just like, all right. I mean, you got that deal for us, so we'll believe you. But
Well,
their heads are
Sarah
on
Bond
chopping
did,
block,
but
man.
yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
I'm
Yeah.
paying
Of
attention,
course, he's
Jordan.
gonna take the like, right?
Yeah, GTA 5 made 1 billion in 3 days, so Microsoft ain't trying to pay that just to get it on Game Pass. Nah.
Jesus.
Jeez, man.
I don't know what number they could come to them with. For Take-Two to just be like, all right, we'll put it on game. Nah,
right.
there gotta be some stupid money.
Oh my gosh. All right. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for the game, or not for the game we're playing, for the news that happened this week. Now let's talk about the games we've been playing. Sean, you have played a couple of games. Tell us.
Ugh. Ugh. So I finally played the finals beta.
How do you enjoy it, Sean?
Nah, I know I say try everything, and I don't often regret playing games. So
oh man,
I play a lot of free to play games, right? This game I believe is going to be free to play, but it felt like a free to play game,
yeah,
and not in a good way. It just something felt off, and I don't know if it's the 2 decades of playing Call of Duty, Battlefield, Apex, like all them other games. This shit just felt off. Like DJ said, you had to kind of go into a mini menu to throw a grenade. The momentum wasn't there for me.
I thought the finals was done by Battlefield developers, right?
I mean, it's
So
possible.
it's similar to how Respawn is to Infinity War. So it was Battlefield directors that left, made their own team, and they made this game. Yeah, like it still baffles my mind that they decided it was a good idea to lock the grenade you throw behind a menu, and it's just like, how did you think that was okay? Like when you're in the heat of combat, you have to go through a menu to throw a grenade. Like that's so dumb.
I don't think they want
so
you
dumb.
throwing these grenades in the heat of combat, which is fine. But I think them getting funding and saying, yeah, we used to work at on Battlefield, did a lot of heavy lifting for them.
Absolutely.
Because,
but again, like my story about, so Cam, because you weren't here last cast, I played the finals beta, and pretty much the only thing that was appealing to me was the fact that the environments are destructible, to the point where I got into a fight with a person in a stairwell, and by the time we were finished the fight, the stairwell had like one stair left. Like we just completely demolished the stairwell because I was shooting the person. I was like, oh fuck, I'm just going to chuck grenades. So I'm here going through menu, chuck grenade, wait for it to reload, chuck grenade, chuck a grenade. So like I was blowing up the stairwell or whatever. And it's like, that was fun. But the fact that I had to go through the menu, throw a grenade, just kind of slowed down everything to the point where it's just like, this is The
At
only
no
fun
point in
part
your
is like,
head was like, let me stop going through these menus and just go run his fade with my gun in my hand, DJ.
yeah, and the reason why I resorted to the grenade is because to me, I feel like the gunplay itself just wasn't
Subpar.
comparable to like Call of Duty or even Apex. Like as much grief as I give Apex, like
Overwatch,
Apex,
anything,
the
yeah.
gunplay is
It's
still
solid.
leagues better than this. Yeah, and it's just like, why are these decisions made? But then again, like at the same
This
time, I kind of
shit feel like a phone game.
yeah, but like I feel like because I don't play Battlefield,
Yeah.
my sensibilities are different. Like because my main game is Call of Duty. So I wonder if like if Jordan were to play the finals, if he would had a completely different experience because his game was Battlefield, and these people are Battlefield people making this new game. So it is like I don't know if it's just a me thing because like even the streamers that I watched that play Call of Duty DMZ, they came from Battlefield and they jumped on the finals and they loved the finals. So it's just like so maybe it is like if you have that Battlefield sensibility, it's like you're more likely to enjoy this game. But it's also feels like a PC game that you can play with a controller. And like that's the second part. I'm just like, I don't like this. I don't like anything about this.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, what else you play?
Past that, I just finally got time to get into Horizon's DLC Burning Shores. Obligatory F Ted Pharaoh. They have this new frog that's kicking my ass. I just love seeing people's amazement at shit that Aloy is doing. Like she does a thing. I don't want to spoil it because for the people who haven't actually played for Forbidden West. But some of the things she does, and then people see her interacting with the machines in ways that most normal people in this world cannot. It's just like, goddamn, this shit's so cool. I wish they not focused in on more of it, but just added more of that, amazement and wonder. But this has the same. It's not even an issue. It's just that it comes out so much longer after the main game, just like the first game with Frozen Wilds, and it's just like, oh god, what do these buttons do? Oh no,
exactly. Yeah,
so I'm just getting tossed around.
Yeah, like that was my biggest issue. Like coming back to it was like, man, I love this world. I love Aloy. I love her new like not companion, but I love her conversations with the new person. And it's just like this is so cool. But like as Sean said, I barely know how to play this game anymore. It's just like, and the fact that they start you where they start you is just like you have to know your shit, or you are going to get bounced around. It's just like, God damn it! Like,
it also doesn't help that he has such a long recovery time now after getting knocked around.
Never have I felt so like, God, this game is old when I went back to like playing Aloy in Forbidden West. It's just like, yo, get up, man. Come on. What are you doing?
I mean, granted, to be fair, she's getting knocked around by the
knocked around by like mechanical dinosaurs, you know. Get up, get up. She's got thrashed by a T-Rex.
Right.
My back. My back.
Aloy's like, oh shit.
So I mean, it's realistic, but nah, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. That's good though. That's awesome. All right. Gam, because you haven't been here in literally ages. What games have you been playing recently?
So I've been all in on Baldur's Gate 3. I'm in the thick of Act 2. I put a pause on it to play Spider-Man. And I told DJ in a chat, or in a text, I was just like, I'm not gonna play Spider-Man until the end of the year because I need to be focused on Baldur's Gate. But I just really craved a different gameplay, um, uh, like feeling, because versus turn-based to real time. And I really love Spider-Man. I really, really loved it. And then while Baldur's Gate was updating, I was like, let me hop back on Spider-Man Remaster. And dog, let me tell you, Insomniac did their thing in this game because when you go back and play the first Spider-Man and then you go play the second one, you're like, leagues ahead.
Yeah.
And so I did that for a bit, hop back into Baldur's Gate. This game is phenomenal. Like I literally been laughing out loud at some of the writing,
Yeah.
just like everything that everybody says about the game is true. I'm only adding on to it, but I never played a game I've loved so much more in my life, other than probably Metal Gear Solid 3. That's the
Yeah.
highest praise for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Baldur's Gate 3 is like again, we're going to do a review on Spider-Man 2. It's gonna happen, all right. It's gonna happen, all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, Baldur's Gate
Yo,
3,
I
like
teared up in Spider-Man 2 though. I did. Like there's a couple
I
times
was
I
gonna say
teared
what
up
part,
in
but
that
yeah,
game.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
it's good. It's good. It's a good game. But yeah,
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3, like I don't know if there was a game that I've played in my past that I was like, man, this style of game I generally don't really have any interest in. These characters I don't know. I'm just gonna give this a shot. There's not really any black characters except for the one, but whatever. And like jumping into this game is just
It's
like,
you, baby. You gotta make your own blackness.
hey, my character is black. But it is the thing of just like, man, I love everything about this game. Like this is the
Yeah.
choices I'm making actually make sense. There's like things happening, and it's just like I didn't know that was gonna happen. Oh crap! And it's just like, who is this person? Oh, this person has a backstory. Oh shoot, what's happening here? I go into this like basement area, and I'm just looking around, and I see there is a wall. I was like, oh, I can break that wall. Let me break that wall. See what happens. You break the wall, you go through the wall. It's just a whole cave structure, and there's spiders in the cave, and you're just like, where
Yeah.
am I? And it's just like the the density of this game is mind-boggling from when you just start a map and you're just like, well, I'm gonna go talk to people and see what happens. And then like an hour later, you're just in a place that's completely different from where you started. You don't really know what's going on. But at the same time, you're having so much fun just like figuring out stuff. And like
Yeah.
the game does such a good job for making the world feel so big but manageable at the same time. And it's
This
just
is like no, I mean everything you're saying. This is like my Zelda. So like the way that people feel
mhm,
about Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is the way I feel about this game, because it's like the dialogue does the same things that those folks say that whatever happens in Zelda happens there. From that's the way I feel about it. Like
yeah.
it's the only game where I've literally been like, you know what, I'm just going with the flow. Um, like any other time with an RPG, I'm literally like, no, I'm the master of my fate. You're gonna do it
Yeah,
the way I
yeah.
want to do it. Like literally, I'm like, oh, that didn't go the way I planned. That's just where I'm at now.
Let's
We're
just see
going
what
with the
happens.
flow. Yeah.
Like I was I mean, it's been recorded on this podcast. I was a diehard stan for Tears of the Kingdom being game of the year. Like I saw stuff on Baldur's Gate. I was like, all right, whatever. It's an RPG, but like everybody play Tears of the Kingdom, like that's gonna have the water cooler moments. That's gonna be the thing that everybody talks about. And then Baldur's Gate 3 dropped, and I'm just like, oh shit, wait a minute. Maybe I should give this a shot. And it's just like, God damn, like this is just amazing in every like from fidelity to like character development
Hmm.
to choices you're making. I don't know about the ending. I mean, I will say that being in Act 3, you do feel a lot of the bugs. I haven't had like any game breaking bugs, but I've had like weird like, oh, okay, like my menus don't really kind of work right now. That's a problem. And I reload the save. It's fine. Or like there was even parts where like I just went to the pause menu, came back, and it worked. And I was like, okay, that's fine. But it
Yeah.
hasn't been enough to like detract from the experience that I'm having. So it's just like, hey man, this is all fine. This is I
Or
got
I
no
mean,
problems.
I know we're wrapping up, but like the thing I like is it's also one of those games where literally how you feel about a character at the beginning of the game doesn't necessarily mean how you're going to feel about the character like as the game progresses. And I've never had that with a game. Like usually I go in and say, "Oh, I like this character," and then I've already made up my mind. And then as the story progresses, I just find more reasons to like them or more reasons to dislike them, vice versa. And it's literally like,
Yeah,
I don't like this character. And
yeah,
then later as the game goes on, I understand their motivations, I understand why they are where they are. Um, Now, do I actually want to help them get to where they want to go? Do I want to
Mhm.
rehabilitate them? Like it's phenomenal.
Man, it's just so good. It's so good. So yeah, we'll talk about more about that probably around Game of the Year discussion or something like that. But yeah,
Oh my god, yeah.
so I'll just wrap up. As I said at the very start of this podcast, I apparently have been the only other person to play Modern Warfare 3 single player campaign. So there's been just shit posting. There's been just review bombing that's happening around this game because, as you know, well, if you don't know, this year's Modern Warfare 3 is a reimagining of the 2011 Modern Warfare 3 or whatever that happened in the past, and that game was beloved by a lot of people. So because Modern Warfare 3 is happening again and it's not matching up to that, everyone is just upset. There's been a article put out about how apparently you can beat the game in 3 to 4 hours. I beat the game today. I beat it in about like 2.5, maybe like 3 sittings. And
did you
I want to
die
say
much at all?
I died a couple of times, yeah. So I for me, it was probably around 6 hours I played and I beat it. And looking at what I played, there's like 14 missions in total. Looking at what I played to beat it in 3 to 4 hours, you would have to, unless you're like, I mean, I guess if you know the missions and stuff, you can run through them kinda. And if you're skipping the cutscenes, then maybe. But like, it's not. That's 3 to 4 hours is not going to be the like normal circumstances for beating that game. And it's one of those things where this sort of happens a lot when it comes to Call of Duty, where before it releases, people like, oh, this game sucks. Oh, this is terrible. Oh, X, Y, and Z is trash or whatever. And it's just like, all right, obviously this is the vocal minority, like at it again because they're just butthurt for some reason. And it's just like
Canceled.
yeah. As I said, I was like, I probably shouldn't use that anymore, right? But it's just like it's not even that it's annoying or it's just like, oh my God, but it's just like, this is kind of expected. And then on top of this, IGN gave the single player a 4 out of 10, which is categorically bad. And it's just like
I don't know
playing
why
it.
anybody's looking at IGN for scores at this point.
Yes, and I think this
You
is
you remember what happened with Starfield? They definitely are.
well, that's the thing. I think for this year, this has been the linchpin for IGN just misses the mark with this stuff now because we have Starfield. They gave a 7, I think.
GameSpot also gave it a 7 as well.
True. But I think GameSpot does
just-
a little.
I don't think they're missing the mark. I think they're generating clicks and it's working.
I want to believe that these people who are reviewing these, because like Simon Carty was a person who reviewed Modern Warfare 3, and I listened to the IGN UK podcast, and he is very much like a old school COD player, and he really likes the old COD stuff, and it's just like, well, should you really be the person to review this? I don't know. That's a whole subjective thing, but like looking at Starfield,
boy, you sound like a real gamer right now.
Who, me? Oh
yeah. You didn't give the review I wanted, so you shouldn't be giving reviews.
I mean,
that's the way you're sounding.
I think that's the complicated side to it because it's just like, well, how do you determine a person who should review a certain game? Because do you do the person who really likes the game? Do you do the person who has no interest in the game? Like, where is that line drawn? But yeah, that's a different thing. Looking at IGN specifically, they reviewed Loki. They reviewed the first 4 episodes of Loki and gave it a 5 out of 10. Everyone was just like, what the hell is that score about? Because that is not what we're watching, and it makes no sense. Starfield, they gave it 7. I think another game they gave a low score, and I was like, oh, that's weird. And then they give Call of Duty a 4 out of 10. And it's just like, this it's one of those things where it's like they're reviews and you're supposed to treat them like, well, this is just a person's review, but it's just like,
I don't know, man. I'm on IGN side. Before it was like, oh, these people are paying you, so of course you're gonna give Call of Duty an 8. Remember, like all the shit IGN got for years for reviewing stuff, and like they clearly paying you. Why would you give them an 8? And why would you give like they can't win with y'all? They can't.
No, they can't. No, absolutely not. But that's kind of the thing
I
that you
bet you
gotta have to.
GameSpot. I bet you GameSpot's gonna give that campaign probably a 5 or 6, and nobody's gonna say nothing to
I
GameSpot
if it's
because they definitely.
to more if it's to more
'Cause-
Hussein reviewing, yeah, it's gonna be a low score. But like my thing is,
they did give it a 5 out of 10.
They did? Okay. Who
They
reviewed it? Who
reviewed
reviewed
it.
it? Who reviewed it?
SE Doster. I don't know.
I don't know
They
who
put
that
it
is.
up
Okay, never mind.
2
But
days
yeah,
I told
ago.
you because I'm telling you the same thing happened with Dan Stapleton and Starfield. He gave it a 7, and them Starfield boys were in his comments fighting with that man night and day. GameSpot gave it a 7 as well, and nobody said nothing, not a peep.
Well, then again,
IGN can't win with y'all.
you also got to realize that IGN and GameSpot are not on the equal plane in terms of their subscriber base and who actually goes to look at their stuff. So like that's also a thing.
I'm just saying.
No.
How's it? What's up with IGN and these ratings? And literally, IGN and GameSpot are neck and neck on how they viewing these games.
Well, in this
Just not
particular
the score you
situation,
like.
in this situation, no, of course, like it's the thing is, it's not the score that I like, but I think to rate it a 4 versus like a 7 is a very different conversation. And like to rate something a 4, that means that your
shit
game
is below average and unplayable.
was not running well. Like the stuff didn't make any sense. Like you didn't enjoy anything. It's just like that is a weird score to do. But yeah, anyways, I played the game. I'm not gonna really like spoil anything. I think the campaign that I played, I had a really good time with it. I think this campaign does a really good job of respecting your time. So every mission you're doing, again, there's 14 missions. Every mission you're playing, there's at least one new or interesting thing that you're doing in that mission that you weren't really doing in the previous mission. You're still shooting and killing people, you're ducking behind cover and stuff, but there's just added stuff to that I think makes the experience, in my case, like a very like fun time. There was one mission in particular that I absolutely hated, and if the game ended after that mission, that would have been a fucking 4 out of 10 for me. But the way that mission ended was like, holy shit. And I don't want to spoil anything for it because, because the game's not technically out yet. But like, what they are doing with this campaign is what I wanted them to do with Modern Warfare 3 campaign based off of, I guess, what we saw with the zombie stuff. Like, that's the only thing I'm going to say. And I think it's moving like closer and closer to what we know what Modern Warfare 3 is going to be, which is zombie stuff. And it is so cool. The only thing is the way that they ended the campaign, I think was very, very impactful, but it also was a little weird because we don't get a resolution. So it is kind of like a cliffhanger in a way of like, okay, so maybe we'll get more story stuff in the, not the, I guess the war zone or the zombie mode stuff.
Or we'll probably just get Modern Warfare 4 versus last time they went to Advanced Warfare and Infinite Warfare. Like, they're probably just banking on the Modern Warfare name.
I guess, but I feel like stuff happens that's just like, oh yeah, this has to be wrapped up like now. So it's just like it seems kind of weird, like they'd wait until Modern Warfare 4. But I think based off of what we saw, we will probably get story stuff in the other modes, which I feel is kind of weird because like, all right, well, you're kind of making people play the other modes, but at the same time, that's kind of what Call of Duty want people to do, is play the other modes. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, if I were to score this, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. Like I think it was a really good thing. Like
this man said, I'll give it double 2 IGNs.
Hey, I mean, I don't know. Like I need to listen to the UK podcast because I'm pretty sure they're going to be talking about that, and I'm really interested to hear his take on it and why he gave it a 4 out of 10 versus what I played. So that's going to be interesting. Next week I'll talk about that, I guess, depending on whatever happens. So yeah, that's it for us. That's it for the games we've been playing. That's it for the news we have been covering. Thank you, Cam, for coming back and delighting us with your commentary and thoughts on video games. hopefully this is not the last time, and you will be back, especially for the Spider-Man, because we gotta do that.
Yeah, I gotta get in there. I need to get the Spider-Man out.
Right. We gotta figure out how to pay Cam or how to get him to come back some more. And again, thank you, Sean, for always being here through thick or thin. Unlike Cam's, like, oh man, it's always a fun time. But yes, this has been another episode of Press X Start Gamers Digest. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as you enjoyed making it. Don't forget, you can rate. No, you can review. No, you can. What the hell can you do?
You cannot do anything.
This video.
End this shit.
You can like this video. You can subscribe to the channel. You can hit the notification bell. Then, if you are not watching and you are listening, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or the podcast services you're currently tuned in on. It's a mouthful, but you can do that. Do it. And if you want, you can join our Discord by joining our Discord at going to pressx2start.com/Discord. Do it. It's always a lot, but I get there in the end. Yeah, you know, with that, you be safe, you take care, you have a good time, and you just play them video games, because this year is a banger for video games. Not so much for keeping your job in the game industry, but it's a banger for video games.
Hell nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, take care.
Peace.
Peace.